Music. It's the soundtrack to our lives. From heartbreak to first dates, to that one song you played on loop for 3 weeks straight just to get over someone, music has always meant something deeply personal to us. But what if I told you that your favorite artist might be sabotaging your dating life? Sounds dramatic, right? But according to a fascinating study from the now-defunct dating site Tastebuds, certain artists can actually make you less attractive in the eyes of potential partners. That's right. Not your hair, not your height, not even your job, but your playlist could be your biggest turnoff. And while musical taste is often a subjective realm, a safe space for personal expression, it turns out people do judge others based on the bands or artists they listen to, sometimes harshly. So in today's video, we're going to break down 3 specific musicians that, according to research, are red flags in the dating world. And before you start throwing vinyl at your screen, remember, this isn't about canceling your music taste. It's about understanding how and why your music preferences shape how people see you, especially romantically. We'll dig into the psychology of musical identity, the social stigmas attached to certain artists, and what your playlist might be saying about you without you even realizing it. So hit that like button if you've ever judged someone by their Spotify Wrapped. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more strange but true relationship psychology, dating tips, and cultural breakdowns that make you smarter with every watch. Now, grab your headphones and maybe hide that old CD collection for a minute. Let's jump into the 3 musicians that could be killing your dating chances, according to research. Number 1, Nickelback, the ultimate musical punchline. There's almost no band as publicly ridiculed yet secretly beloved as Nickelback. With over 50 million records sold and a string of radio hits like Photograph and How You Remind Me, you'd think they'd be music royalty. Instead, they've become the poster child for guilty pleasure, or worse, the band everyone loves to hate. But why does liking Nickelback supposedly make someone less attractive? The key lies in social identity theory. According to psychologists, people often form impressions of others based on group associations, and music is one of the most emotionally charged group identifiers out there. Nickelback, fairly or unfairly, has been labeled as formulaic, commercial, and uninspired. So, fans of the band are sometimes assumed to be basic, lacking in musical taste, or even culturally out of touch. Of course, none of this is rooted in real science about actual attractiveness, but perception often shapes reality, especially in dating. If your Tinder date sees Nickelback on your playlist, their brain might not say, "Oh, they love Canadian rock." It might say, "Oh no, he peaked in 2005. There's also the cultural cringe effect, where people distance themselves from things that seem outdated or uncool. Nickelback's overexposure in the early 2000s created a sort of backlash. Memes, jokes, late-night hosts, everyone took a shot at them. That negativity stuck like gum on your shoe. But let's not forget, musical taste is deeply subjective. If Nickelback's power chords remind you of good times, who cares what others think? Still, if first impressions count, maybe keep that playlist private until the 3rd date. Pro tip: if you do love Nickelback, own it with confidence and a little humor. Authenticity is always more attractive than insecurity. Number 2, Justin Bieber, the pop star with polarizing vibes. Justin Bieber is one of the most commercially successful artists of the 21st century, but being a Belieber might not help your dating game, especially if you're not a teenage girl. So why does liking Justin Bieber supposedly make people less attractive? It starts with cultural association and gendered expectations. Bieber's early career was tightly linked to a predominantly teenage female fan base. This led to widespread ridicule from older men, who saw liking his music as immature, shallow, or even emasculating. That stigma lingers, even as Bieber has grown into a more mature artist. When people see that someone listens to Bieber, their subconscious may connect that with immaturity, over-commercialization, or even blind fandom, none of which screams sexy adult. His early music also played heavily on bubblegum pop themes, which some associate with a lack of depth or emotional complexity, whether fair or not. But here's the kicker. Musical taste often serves as a social badge. It signals your values, your age bracket, your emotional depth, even your vibe. Liking Bieber might suggest you're playful, nostalgic, or lighthearted, but to some, it may also signal arrested development or a lack of musical adventurousness. Ironically, Bieber has released some very emotionally nuanced music in recent years. Songs like Lonely and Ghost are raw, introspective, and musically interesting, but the early stigma remains. So should you lie about being a belieber? Absolutely not. But be prepared. Some people will jump to conclusions, others might be intrigued, and some might even respect your confidence in owning it. Pro tip: balance your playlist with variety. If you love Bieber, great, but pair him with something unexpected to show range. Think Bieber and Bon Iver. That'll get someone talking. Number 3. Lady Gaga. Glam, fame, and fierce divides. Now this one's a shocker because Lady Gaga is a musical powerhouse. She's bold, boundary-breaking, and vocally untouchable. So why would anyone think that liking her makes someone less attractive? It's all about perception and personality projection. Lady Gaga's fans, affectionately known as little monsters, are often seen as bold, artistic, and unapologetically expressive. But for some, that kind of energy can feel overwhelming, dramatic, or even a little too extra. When you say you're a Gaga fan, people might assume you're eccentric, flamboyant, or deeply immersed in pop culture. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But for individuals who value subtlety, minimalism, or low-key vibes, that can be a turnoff. Also, Gaga's music spans many styles, from avant-garde electropop to jazz duets with Tony Bennett. People who dislike her often say it's less about her talent, which is unquestionable, and more about her larger-than-life persona. Her extreme fashion, theatrical performances, and heavy symbolism aren't everyone's cup of tea. That said, some people will love you more for loving Gaga. Her music represents freedom, rebellion, identity, and acceptance. But again, we're talking about first impressions, and impressions can be powerful. Pro tip: if you're a Gaga stan, wear it loud and proud. Just be mindful of your audience. Not everyone will be ready for meat dresses and cosmic eyeliner metaphors on the first date. So, what have we learned today? Well, first off, music is way more than just entertainment. It's emotional shorthand. It tells the world who we are, what we feel, and what we value, sometimes even before we say a single word. While Nickelback, Justin Bieber, and Lady Gaga might raise a few eyebrows on dating apps or awkward first dates, none of this means you need to change your taste. If anything, these findings show us how deeply our musical preferences shape our identities, and how others think they understand us through those preferences. But attraction? It's always deeper than the surface. If someone can't see past your playlist, they're probably not ready to hear your heart song anyway. So whether you're blasting Bad Romance, humming Baby, or screaming, "Look at this photograph," just make sure the music moves you. The right person will groove to your vibe, or at least be open enough to share theirs. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the psychology of music and dating, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want more weird, fun, and insightful videos like this, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss what's next. Leave a comment below and tell me, what artist do you think is a deal breaker or a deal maker in dating? Until next time, keep your playlist loud and your heart open.